In this video, I'm doing 2 Christmas present ideas made out of pallet wood that didn't go too well. Thanks for clicking play and welcome to my bomb shelter basement workshop, where today I'm doing a video that you guys have asked for. The last video I did, I was doing pallet wood Christmas presents, but there was 2 of the presents I was working on that didn't make it to the video and you guys wanted to see them. I thought that'd be a good idea because I don't like to class my videos as how to, I like to class them as how not to. You can see me fail, and that way you don't make the same mistakes. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first one was a phone speaker stand thingy. There's tons of these videos on the internet, but I had an interesting idea that I thought might be really cool.
Most phones have the speakers here, and that's roughly where we're going to put the speaker holes. One speaker there, one speaker there, colour them in. Now it's not going to be this long, it's going to be a square, so this one's going to be exactly the same size. Mark there, and then. So what I'm going to try and do is make the sound come in the top section, and then leave the bottom section, whilst keeping the left and right separate. Okay, so this is the bottom section. I need a line straight down the middle. And then I think I want like a funnel. I want to funnel the sound out. I don't know if that makes it any better, but that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try something that's either genius or stupid. If you're watching this, it wasn't stupid. Haha, not stupid. So it helped me clear out the wood quicker than I would have done with a router, because I'm rubbish with a router. But 2, it's put a curve at the back, and I'm thinking that like sound is curved, I don't know.
It's not just a light, it's a beacon. The strobe becomes our guide.
That doesn't sound amazing. Oh, that was no copyright sounds, by the way. That's where I get all my music from. But yeah, didn't sound great. I'm gonna glue it up, and whilst it's drying, I'm gonna do another one.
On the one I just made, the sound holes are very close to where the speakers are located, which means it doesn't have chance to echo and amplify. Remember, I'm making this up and I've got no idea. So for this next one, I want to test something different, and I want to put the sound holes further away from where the speakers are to see if it does anything different. I was using my drop saw method to carve out the space for the sound again, and I went a bit too far and messed this piece up, so we had to start again. This time I was a lot more careful, and I decided to go at an angle.
Okay, so it kind of works. Even this one works a little bit. It's only just noticeable, you know. The difference between this and this, not a huge amount. This one is definitely a little bit louder, but there's not a huge difference. There is definitely a noticeable difference. It echoes more, but it's not like a huge amount different. I definitely want to experiment with this in the future. I'll make this one look pretty just for the sake of the video.
Next present is going to be a cookbook stand. Now you can buy these on Amazon for about £12, but why would I spend my money when I can make it out of pallet wood? They look really simple, but there's a lot of angles involved, and I've got no instructions, so let's work it out. For this project, the piece of pallet wood was not going to be wide enough, so I had to figure out how to stick two pieces of pallet wood together side by side. I decided using dowels would have been the best way to do this and make the strongest bond, and to get the holes in the right place every time, I tried to make a jig out of some aluminium right angle, but it didn't go too well. To make this work properly, the hole had to be perfectly central, but mine was a fraction of a millimetre out, so when I put the boards together, they were skew-off. But after a lot of trial and error, I put the boards side by side, drew lines straight across them, and then I flipped the angle from one side to the other, so the holes would be in the same position and the same height.
I don't have any more of this wood left. I don't have any time to stick these together even if I did. So I'm going to use this piece of scrap wood to test out the shapes before I ruin this piece. There's a slant to hold the book, which goes all the way there, and then there's a little bit for the book to sit on, a bit that comes up that way to hold the pages. I think it just goes down there like that, which is perfect because then I can get another one in there. Two very shoddy templates. Now I've got to make them cross. Not angry, like stick together in a cross. They don't always work first time. This is one of those occasions. Back is nice and straight, although I might tilt it back a little bit further. The bottom sections don't have enough space. And when I look from the top, they're actually pitched inwards, so I need to angle them out a little bit. I also think I need to put the connector higher up so it gives it a bit more space at the bottom. I don't think it's the stand's fault. I just don't see how this type of stand can hold a paperback book. Unless I snapped this thing completely straight and just ruined the book, it's always gonna flop around. It does sort of work, so I'm gonna finish it. It should be so simple, it's just two pieces of wood. I've cut them on a slight angle and they're still not flat. Like in the photos, it's completely flat. I just don't understand. Ugh. I've just noticed something. The front may be rubbish and really awkward, but the back is completely straight. How do I make this the front? I don't know how, but I've made it even worse.
After this, there was quite a few more mistakes, wood and tantrums thrown around the workshop, but I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to skip straight to where I'd figured it out.
My head hurts so much.
First we're marking out the wood, and this is a 20-degree angle. That becomes important later. Next I'm marking the book holder feet thingies. I'm realising my wood probably isn't big enough.
Now here's the important part. Whatever degree you have drawn your line at, you need to cut an angle at that same degree. That doesn't make sense, let me show you. This angled section of wood here needs to be cut at an angle like this. Now if you don't have any way of measuring the angles and you have a drop saw, you can just use the angles on the drop saw. And if you don't have a drop saw to measure your angles and you've just drawn a line that looks kind of right, all you need to do is measure the jigsaw blade against that angle. All I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it flat against the top of the wood, and then I'm gonna turn it at an angle until it goes parallel to the line.
In this next section, I talk for about 2 hours because I can't figure out a way of explaining this in a simple method. It took me about 8 attempts to understand it myself. The best I can come up with is you need to end up with a triangle that slants down on both sides. To do this, you need to trace around the piece you've cut using the big edge. Make some kind of marking to remind yourself that that is the big side. Then set your jigsaw at an angle and cut it.
Slanting down that way. Next we need to cut a space so they can link together. Put one line at a right angle, draw that line at a right angle, and here's how wide it needs to be. This wide. These need to be quite tight. I've got no science on how to cut the distance. I just draw a line halfway, and then I'm just going to move the line in by 5mm. I'm going to cut that out, stick them together, see how far out it is, and then cut it again. The cookbook stand is finished, is what I would really like to say, but there's a few bits that need fixing. First of all, I didn't use wide enough wood. If I'd used wider wood, I could have made this a bit nicer, I could have cut that at an angle, but because it wasn't wide enough, it looks horrible. Also, when I was cutting this section, I cut it with the jigsaw at a complete straight right angle, straight down, right angle, like that. Whereas obviously this front section is at an angle. These sections here need to be at an angle that parallels the back section. The back piece is now completely flat, and if I try to slide that in there, it won't go into these sections. Now, if it was at an angle, it would have about 9mm more at the front here. Finally, the back section. It looks horrible, it's not perfectly straight, and that's because I'm terrible with a jigsaw. Look at my display pieces. They're like a fraction out, but they're almost perfect. But that's because I cut these on a table saw, so the angle is perfectly straight. Now, if you get to this point, then just clamp it down and sand the hell out of it.
And there we go, my 2 failed pallet wood Christmas presents. They've not really failed, they're just not as good as I'd hoped. Definitely going to come back to this one and figure out a way of doing it better. I just really can't be arsed right now. And I really want to do some more experiments with this. I think I'm going to watch some other people's videos, so if you do know any speakerphone videos, stick them in the comments below for me. But yeah, like, I fail quite a lot. There's a lot of stuff that never makes it to the videos, and these 2 were 2 of them. If you've got any ideas for my video next year, because I definitely want to do another one, let me know now so I can get practicing. And apart from that, if you've watched this far, thanks very much for watching. If you've got any tips, questions or suggestions, stick them in the comments below. And I've just finished another video, so hopefully that'll be out soon. Yeah, brilliant. Have a good Christmas.